Hey y'all, this is Ball Fanatic 83 with my very first video that I've ever put on YouTube, football related. Um, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I love football. Been a huge Tennessee fan from day one. And I've just kind of put together Tennessee's 2023 season, their game 1 through 12, giving my prediction on kind of how things are going to go. Um, We've got we got 6 starters back on defense, 7 back on offense. We're losing, several key pieces, but at the same time, we have a lot of people coming back on offense. We lose Hyatt, we lose Hooker, and then we lose Tillman too. But I mean, Tillman didn't play much at all anyway. But we do have a lot of production coming back. And Brew McCoy, Squirrel White, Small, Wright, and 3 offensive linemen. So 3 starting offensive linemen that are coming back. I know we lose Darnell Wright, and we got Spraggins back. I think Carvin. We lose Carvin. So we lose 2 of our starting offensive linemen. But we look good. I think we'll be at least preseason top 15 in the country starting the year. But anyway, I'm just going to kind of go through the season, kind of tell you my thoughts on each team, how I think the games are going to go. So we opened up with Virginia in Nashville. It's basically going to be a home game. Virginia, they're pitiful. I think Vegas has us as like a 28-point favorite to start the year in that game. I know last year Virginia, they finished 3-7. And they got 9 returning starters. Last year, their offense was anemic. Their defense was pretty good, though, but Tennessee should handle Virginia easy in week 1. And then Austin Peay, smaller school. They did finish 7-4 last year. That's second in the Atlantic Sun Conference. But it should be a very easy win. At Florida. Now, Tennessee has not won in Gainesville since 2003. Always a tough place, but times are hard right now in Gainesville. Last year they finished 6-7. They got destroyed in their bowl game. They lose Anthony Richardson, but they do have some key returning starters. Pearsall, I'm going to butcher this last name, but Atene. They finished 5th in the SEC West, but they do have some key pieces coming back in some areas. They lose a lot of their offensive line. They lose, I think they lost some people on defense. They have a really tough schedule too. So they got an uphill they got an uphill climb. Honestly, just to get the 7 wins. I think Tennessee will win that game. So Tennessee will be 3-0 at that point. Then they play University of Texas San Antonio. Now, this is a really good team. They moved to the American Conference this year. They were in Conference USA the year before. They won their conference. And I think they're in the same conference that Tulane is in. This is a really good team, and they have a lot of starters back, especially on offense. They got 9 of their starting offense coming back next year. So they were 8-0 last year in their conference, and they were 11-3 on the season. They almost beat Houston last year. It went to overtime. So this is a really good team. But anyway, I do think we'll win that game. That's in Neyland. If we played really, really poorly, there is a chance we'd lose that game. But I think we take care of business, and we're 4-0. And then we play South Carolina. South Carolina, I got us winning that game. But I'm telling you, they spread us out last year. They changed their offensive philosophy on the fly against us, and it kind of carried into Clemson, and they beat Clemson too. But Spencer Rattler's a pretty good quarterback. If our secondary does not get better, if we do not get pressure on him, South Carolina could definitely beat us. I do think we take care of business. I do think we win. But Joe Milton will have to play well, and the defense will have to play much better because they scored over 60 points on us in Columbia last year. Then Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a real. I don't know what to expect of that Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they're probably the most underachieving team last year. They went. I think I'm trying to think here. Where does their record last year? I think they went 5-7 last year, and they were maybe the most talented team. They were young, but defense played okay. Their offense was awful. They brought in Bobby Petrino to kind of shore that offense up. I do think they're going to be much improved. I expect A&M probably win 8 to 9 games this year. I have us winning this game, but Tennessee better take A&M very seriously, or they could lose this game as well. So at that point, I've got us at 6-0 going into the Alabama game. Okay, so we go to Tuscaloosa. You know Tuscaloosa is going to be on fire. I was beating them last year, 52-49, game of the year. I think anybody will tell you that. It's the college football game of the year. I don't know what to expect out of Alabama. You know they're going to be talented. You know they're going to out-talent probably anybody other than Georgia. And they're very deep. Offensive line, defensive line, running backs. The running back group this year is really good. I think you're going to see Alabama this year go back to the Alabama teams of, I don't know, 8 to 10 years ago. They're going to line it up more. They're going to run it at you, and they're going to try to impose their will. But I want to say we win this game, but I don't think we do. I think Alabama gets us in Tuscaloosa. So I do have us at that point 6-1. It's just going to be hard to go in there. It's probably going to be a night game, and it'll be hard to beat them 2 years in a row. They're just too good. But I can see us winning that game. But I have Alabama. I do have Alabama beating us. Then I got us going to Kentucky. Kentucky is bringing back their offensive coordinator from 2 years ago, and 2 years ago they had a pretty good offensive team. It was definitely Will Levis's best year that he had in the offensive system at Kentucky. I cannot think of the guy's name, but he went to the Rams, and he's now back with Kentucky. And then they got the new QB from NC State. He was at NC State last year, got hurt, and he transferred to Kentucky. I expect Kentucky to win 7 games, probably, maybe 8. They're going to be middle of the road SEC East team. But we do have to go to Kroger Field. If Tennessee overlooks Kentucky, Kentucky could beat us. And Kentucky's a very physical team, too. A super physical team. And this is going to be after the Alabama game, and so you know we're going to be beat up already. So got to definitely come to play. Kentucky's definitely not forgot either what we did to them last year. Blew them out. Probably played our best game of the year last year, complete-wise. Defense, special teams, offensively. We were really good. So I think at that point, that makes us 7-1. We go into against UConn. We come back home. UConn is in the Independent Conference, which, that's like Notre Dame. But anyway, they were 6-7 last year. Jim Moore Jr. is their head coach. Last year, offensively, they were bad. They like to run the ball a lot. They were pretty decent at running the ball. And they do have, I think, 4 out of their 5 offensive line coming back. So, they can run the ball. They're not horrible. They're okay. But Tennessee should take care of no problem. So then that'll make us 8-1 going into the Missouri game. So going to Missouri, you've seen what Missouri did last year to Georgia. They should have beat Georgia. They just choked, and Georgia somehow came back in that fourth quarter and won that game. But anyway, Missouri last year, they were 6-7 overall, 3-5 and they were 3-5 in the SEC. They're returning a pretty good portion of the players, though. 80% of their offense, 80% of their defense is back. So they got a lot of their players back, which will help, especially in SEC play. You need to have some experience, and you need to have some big bodies. So having that experience more physical players, which Missouri will have, and they're projected to have a pretty good defense, and that's kind of laughable because they gave up 60 points in back-to-back years to us. I can see us slipping up against Missouri. I mean, we have to be very, very careful at Missouri. They're a weird team there. It's going to be later in the year. It could be really cold. I do expect their offense to be better. I do expect their defense to be better, but I don't think they're better than us. I do think we win, and then I think if we win that game, that's going to put us at 9-1, and then we're going to be going against Georgia. I think at this point we're probably both going to be in the top 5 if they're coming to Knoxville. Georgia, they got to replace Stetson Bennett. They got Brock Bowers. He might be the best player in the country. Really, really good ball player. He's tight end, but he moves like a receiver. Catches everything you throw to him. And then, I mean, their offensive line. I think I saw the SEC, all SEC first team, and they had 4 players on the offensive team that they had on there. Georgia did. They had like 2 receivers, and I think they had a couple offensive linemen on that team. So, they don't ever talk about Georgia's offense, but, Georgia's offense had 4 people on the SEC first team. Defensively loaded as usual, 5-star, 5 stars are backing up the starters, so that's just how loaded Georgia is. In Georgia, they're getting a lot of flack for having an easy schedule, but it's not their fault. The SEC East is down other than Tennessee, and then Auburn's down right now, so typically Auburn's good. But anyway, Georgia should be walking in that game easily undefeated with us. I got Georgia beating us. I can't say we'd win. I just can't say it until we do it. I just can't say we're going to beat Georgia. I think at that point we'll be 9-2, and then we close the year out against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's much improved. Last year they beat Florida and they beat Kentucky. Beat Kentucky at Kentucky. We blew them out, but they are getting better. This is the 3rd year for their head coach. They do lose their quarterback, Mike Wright. He transferred to Mississippi State. So they're going to have a new guy at quarterback. I expect Vanderbilt to win 4 or 5 games. But anyway, my prediction is Tennessee going 10-2 in the regular season. This team a lot of it's going to, in this offense that Josh Heupel has, it's so dependent on the quarterback. So Joe Milton is going to have to play really, really good. It's kind of, we're going to kind of have to go as he goes. If he plays bad, we're not going to win 10 games. We're not going to win 9 games. We'll be lucky to win 7 or 8 games. If he plays solid, we'll win 9 or 10. If he plays really good, we could win 11. Anyway, my 2023 season prediction for the Tennessee Vols is 10-2, 2nd place in the SEC East, and I've got, as a whole, I've got Georgia playing Alabama in the SEC championship game. Y'all have a great day. Thank you for tuning in.